Hi, I'm Dr. Chelsea Hunsucker here with The Listening Project, and we have today our special guest, Allison Plum. Allison, will you please introduce yourself and a little bit about what your involvement with this project is?
Yes. Well, welcome to The Listening Project. We're really glad that you're here. So The Listening Project was born from OK Messages Project foundation roots that started in 2011, and we film parents and grandparents in prisons around Oklahoma read to their kids, and we send those books and messages home to the families and to the kids. And our team, we through the years really became advocates and desired to connect with the families to the kids who were receiving these messages. And the desire grew greater and greater to give a voice to the kids who are impacted by the separation that was caused from incarceration. So the Listening Project essentially is a place, a space where we are inviting those who have been impacted by the separation that comes when their parents are in prison.
And is that a large phenomenon in Oklahoma where we are, or?
It is it's a staggering number of individuals, and it's been going on for a long time. And so it's a huge impact in our state. And we want to build a kinder, more compassionate community and citizenry that can listen and be aware, and hopefully build support and resources, mentorship programs, so that those who are younger, those children who are currently experiencing separation from their parents being in prison, that we can start a new narrative, and that Oklahoma can learn how to really wrap their arms around grandparents, family members who are caregivers, and the children who are so instantly impacted when their parents go to prison.
How does the Listening Project give space so that people like me can know these stories and know what those stories lead to? What does this address?
Well, what our experience has been, what my experience has been, and I appreciate your viewpoint so much. I think that when we put our collective advocacy together from those different, from kind of different worlds, storytelling can be a really effective tool. And so when we've gone inside with Messages Project, one thing that as a parent I've connected with so many parents about is during that separation, there's nothing harder than being unable to protect or communicate with your children. And so by being able to reach out and ask adult children of incarcerated parents, what was it like for you? What did you need? What support did you get? What support did you not receive during your parents' incarceration? And find out those experiences in real time the real experiences and not just look at data sets, statistics, analysis in task force meetings or sort of in a book where there's kind of a list of references, but to really come together and to share stories and then to learn how to listen. I think that you have a whole different experience with learning about a part of what's happening in our society that we need to look at from a different perspective in order to find different solutions.
That's great. So you're going to be asking them what they need, what their story's about, what their experience was like. What if they want to talk about something else? Like, how are you kind of guiding the stories that they tell, or at all?
Our main goal is to welcome anyone who wants to share their story and to be the narrator of their own life. And so we want this to be a space where maybe there was silence before, and this is an uncensored space to share your story, how you want to share it, and where maybe out of that we build a community where we can talk about things together and that has not been spoken about before in a real community-driven way. And so I would say that we really do want to invite individuals to come and be the narrator, be the author of their own life and share their story the way they'd like to share it. And we believe that storytelling is a healing process. It's a connecting process. And I think it was Audre Lorde that said, sharing our stories lessens the threat of our differences. And if there's a time in history that we can learn to listen better and share our stories, it would be now. Yeah.
So you're giving them the opportunity to tell their stories and what they need. And what do you hope comes out of this?
I think that these children and adult children, and honestly, these families are some of the most resilient and solution-minded and creative individuals in our communities. I think that they're the change agents, and I've heard the conversations. The Listening Project really has come out of my conversations with individuals who have been impacted by incarceration, by the justice system. And so my hope would be that their ideas would come to surface and be empowered to take shape and take hold, and that we would just be creating a space for ideas to be talked about, for people to find connections with other people who are compassionate and caring and want to change things for the better, who believe in the incarcerated Children of Incarcerated Parents Bill of Rights that was formed in San Francisco, and really turned those rights into realities in Oklahoma. And that's something that I hope we can talk about through the Listening Project. And you're going to meet some amazing people here and hear their stories. And I think if we can learn to listen to one another better, even in practice in our families and amongst our friends, that we can really change things for the better where we are, and at a grassroots level have a huge impact. So that's a huge hope of mine, is to really empower others to find their voice, and that would create hope and change if that's wanted in their own lives, that sharing their story would create a positive energy and impact in their own lives.
That's beautiful. So if I want to be involved, what is my eligibility criteria? Who can be part of this?
We would welcome anyone who cares about the impact of incarceration on families, on children especially, and then anyone who has experienced having a parent in prison, a family member in prison, to reach out, share your story, contact us. But yeah, anyone in the community who cares about this issue and wants to engage in the conversation in order to help find solutions. We want to build more caring communities and really wrap our arms around families and where there has perpetually been disconnection from the time of an arrest on. We feel like that citizens and communities can learn how to fill a gap that needs to be filled, and fill that with care, with resources, with support, and that children impacted by incarceration can continue to thrive and understand their potential, and we can really figure out better ways of taking care of the children and the families.
So if I'm a kid, and do I need to be an adult to participate in this, or is it children only?
We're still figuring out,
Okay.
and it's an emergent process, and so we welcome adult children and their family members, and we'll see where this thing goes.
So if I'm not a great storyteller, like a narrative producer, should I still consider being on this?
Absolutely. Everybody has a story, and we want to hear it. And it can be short or long or anything in between, but absolutely, everybody has a story, and it is time for it's time to listen, and it's time for those who have not been able to speak about certain things or share to be seen and heard. And yeah, when we ask questions and when we care enough to sit and listen to each other's stories, that really there is a hope that can grow where there is so much sometimes hopelessness in the silence and the alienation of silence. And so you were a listener today, so thank you so much.
Thanks. I hope to listen more.
All are welcome here. We're glad you visited Pass Along the Project of Listening and the origin story that is still going on inside many prison walls throughout Oklahoma Messages Project. Another story for another time. You'll find links and experiences referenced below. You'll get to know the Listening Project team as well. Thanks so much for being here.